Ever felt the heat of the Sahara? It's not just the temperature that gets to you. It's the sheer intensity of the sun, the way it beats down relentlessly, making every step feel like a monumental effort. The heat waves distort the horizon, creating mirages that play tricks on your mind. Liam did, and it was a fight for survival. He had always been drawn to the extremes, the places where few dared to tread. The Sahara was his latest challenge, a test of his endurance and willpower. Liam, an experienced hiker, sought the challenge of the vast Sahara Desert. He'd conquered mountains and forests, but the desert was a different beast altogether. Its vastness was both alluring and intimidating, a place where one could easily get lost. Armed with a map, water and supplies, he felt ready for anything. He had meticulously planned his route, ensuring he had enough provisions to last the journey. But the desert is unpredictable, and no amount of preparation can account for its whims. But after hours under the relentless sun, the desert turned into an endless sea of sand. The dunes seemed to stretch on forever, each one looking identical to the last. It was easy to lose one's sense of direction in such a place. Suddenly, a fierce windstorm erupted, blasting sand into the air and wiping out his path. The wind howled like a wild beast, and the sand stung his skin like 1,000 tiny needles. Visibility dropped to zero, and he was forced to take cover. When the storm finally settled, Liam was completely disoriented. His map? Useless. No landmarks in sight. The landscape had changed, and he had no way of knowing which direction to go. Panic began to set in, but he knew he had to stay calm. Days blurred as he wandered, conserving water and rationing food. Each sip of water was a precious lifeline, each bite of food a small comfort. He had to make them last, not knowing how long it would be before he found help. The sun scorched him by day, the cold bit at night. The temperature swings were brutal, and his body struggled to cope. During the day, he sought shade wherever he could find it, and at night he huddled in his sleeping bag trying to stay warm. His strength waned, hope faded. Each step became harder than the last, and the weight of his backpack seemed to increase with every passing hour. He began to doubt whether he would make it out alive. The only sounds, the whispering wind and his labored breathing. The desert was eerily silent, a vast emptiness that seemed to swallow all sound. It was a lonely place, and the isolation weighed heavily on his mind. In his darkest moment, he remembered his grandfather's words, "When lost, stop moving aimlessly. Look for signs." His grandfather had been a seasoned outdoorsman, and his advice had always been practical and wise. With renewed hope, he scanned the horizon and spotted a distant rock formation, different from the shifting dunes. It was a small but significant sign, a fixed point in an otherwise ever-changing landscape. He headed towards it, and as he approached, he saw a hidden oasis. It was like a mirage come to life, a small patch of green in a sea of yellow and brown. The sight filled him with a surge of energy and determination. Palm trees swayed, and the shimmer of water beckoned him. The oasis was a sanctuary, a place of life in the midst of desolation. It was a reminder that even in the harshest environments, life finds a way to thrive. Exhausted but determined, he stumbled forward, collapsing by the water, drinking deeply. The cool water was a balm to his parched throat, and he drank until he could drink no more. It was the most refreshing water he had ever tasted. Liam's journey almost ended in despair, but he found salvation in the heart of the desert. The oasis was a turning point, a place where he could rest and recover before continuing his journey. The moral, when lost in life's trials, stop and gather your bearings. Sometimes the smallest sign can lead you to safety. It's a lesson that applies not just to the desert, but to all of life's challenges. When things seem hopeless, take a moment to pause, reflect, and look for the signs that can guide you to safety. Liam set up camp at the oasis, taking the time to rest and replenish his supplies. He knew he couldn't stay there forever, but the respite gave him the strength he needed to plan his next move. With a clearer mind, he used his compass to reorient himself. The rock formation served as a new landmark, and he plotted a course that would take him to the nearest settlement. It was still a long journey, but he felt more confident now. As he resumed his trek, he walked with renewed determination. The desert was still vast and unforgiving, but he no longer felt lost. He had a direction, a goal, and the will to see it through. Days later, he finally reached a small settlement. The locals welcomed him, offering food and water. He was exhausted, but the sense of relief was overwhelming. He had made it out of the desert, and the experience had changed him forever. Liam shared his story with the villagers, recounting his ordeal and the lessons he had learned. They listened with rapt attention, amazed by his resilience and determination. As he looked back at the vast expanse of the Sahara, he felt a deep sense of gratitude. The desert had tested him in ways he had never imagined, but it had also taught him valuable lessons about survival, resilience, and the importance of hope. With a final farewell to the villagers, Liam set off on his next adventure. The desert had been a formidable challenge, but he was ready for whatever came next. He knew that no matter how tough the journey, he had the strength and wisdom to overcome it. The sun set over the desert, casting long shadows across the dunes. It was a beautiful, serene sight, a reminder of the harsh yet stunning beauty of the Sahara. Liam walked on, a survivor, a wanderer, and a testament to the indomitable human spirit.